this is the incredible Jennifer Lieberman. That I didn't say on off the air, but I'm saying it on the air. But the part I did say, I've been saying this, folks. I've been picking people that I have been inspired by and people that I really, really have enjoyed on the show. And I've always enjoyed Jennifer Lieberman coming on this show when she has had the chance to do so. She is a #1 Amazon best-selling author. She is an actress, a comedian, and she is an all-around badass. Anyway, how you look at it. So I present to you Jennifer Lieberman. How's that for an intro? Good one?
Oh my God, that's one of the best intros I've ever had. So
It's
thank
the
you.
truth.
Thank you.
Yeah. But all of that is true, right? You
Thank
started
you.
doing comedy again, I saw.
You know what? I've done a couple of shows just because I'm like, I was just dying to get on stage and,
Yeah.
needed to be in front of an audience. It's like, it's an addiction I have.
So it's a good addiction.
It
Look,
is.
well, for the most part, it depends. You're doing it in the healthy way, and from what it sounds
Yeah,
like, at least.
it's definitely like less dangerous than other addictions, but one of the more expensive ones.
It can be. It can be.
Like needing to perform and be on stage because, I just create my own productions and those cost a lot of money. But it's all
No,
good.
no. Well, no. There's a rush to it because it's like you're the pup. In some ways, it's like you're the puppet master. If I do something, I can get them to laugh. I do something else, I can make them smile. I do something. There's a rush that comes when you realize I know how to manipulate the crowd and stuff.
Well, for me, it's just fun. It's
Yeah.
just so much fun getting up and getting to perform and be silly and getting to make people laugh or, even if I'm doing dramatic work, just getting to make people feel something, take them on a journey. Like to me, that's the most exciting thing in the world. That's what I'm
Yeah.
addicted to,
So what's your favorite kind of story to do on stage? Is it to make people laugh? Is it do you try to make them what do you
Um,
like to do?
it's hard to say because I am really silly and wacky and offbeat. Like I just have my own drummer behind me, and just follows me around.
It's okay.
um, so I love comedy and I love being silly, but my kind of craft as an actor, um, I love doing really kind of tumultuous, dramatic work that like pushes me beyond. Um, I guess I can compare it to like athletics. You know what I mean? Like when you're at a higher level, it's more fun to keep pushing yourself to go to the next level and then go to the next level and go to the next level. You know, so I guess my favorite work is the most challenging work and stuff that really like pushes me to an edge and pushes me to do things that I really didn't think I was capable of or had in me.
So you like pushing yourself out of your comfort zone is
Yeah,
basically
I
what you're
think that's
saying.
it because you know what? I was gonna say like, I'm more, you know, a dramatic actor, but I don't think that's true because when I did my one woman show, that was like the scariest, hardest thing I ever did at that point in my life, and it was a comedy. Um, so yeah, I think I just the hard stuff, like the triple diamonds. That's the work I want to do.
Well, see, I think comedy is one of the hardest two things you can do in storytelling. It's one of the
It
hardest two.
is, but it comes so naturally to me.
Yeah. Well, let me finish my point. I have a point. Even if you're good at it, right? Even if you have a
Thank you.
natural gift, which is awesome. But to me, because okay, so I figured out something from a writing standpoint. This is going to sound really funny. Peter David's Spider-Man run taught me everything. The most important secret to comedy I never thought about, but it actually makes sense. Throw in terrible jokes once in a while, because what happens is this is like a roller coaster, right? I would like a roller coaster. If the jokes are all awesome, all like home runs, they can't tell what the home runs are right now after a while if you don't, right? But if you tell a groaner or one that only makes you laugh and they're like, oh, and then you tell a really funny one. Now suddenly you're playing with their emotions a little bit more and you're going all over the place with
Yeah.
expectations. I think genuine humor is good when it's a little imperfect, it's a little dirty, right? Because what happens is you people can more easily discern what the gems are, and it's easier to get them to sink in. Now, once they're in, right, then you got them, and it doesn't matter. You can actually tell. You could probably do a whole like Dr. Seuss style book in like Klingon after a certain point, and they'll laugh with you the whole time, right? Right? They'll just laugh, right? But you gotta
In
get them there.
Klingon.
And why not? Why not?
I went to a Wiccan wedding performed in Klingon in New York.
That is an
Closing
interesting
night of the
mashup.
first play I was ever in, one of the girls had like a full moon Wiccan wedding on a rooftop
Yeah,
in Klingon.
that's fantastic.
I just had to throw that out there.
No, that is one of the best stories I've ever heard. To be perfectly honest, see, my commentary on the Klingon language. I did a essay for Aragon way back in the day for Ben Bella Books, and one of the essays in there compared Paolini to Tolkien, and the one thing that Paolini couldn't match Tolkien on was languages, but his comparison was, yeah, I mean, like he's better than Klingon. I mean, Klingon's living proof that people that have no social life can find a way to talk to each other. Right? That's like literally what was the commentary on the Klingon language, and that's always stuck in my head.
So
Right? So, yeah. So that's the thing. Now, I'm not saying, like, again, there are people really big into Star Trek lore. I've done shows on this show. I did just a whole Star Trek show one of these episodes. I've also done a whole football show. I let the show kind of evolve. But the thing is, what I learned with like comedy, going back to that, is it's hard because laughter is generally very subjective. Even if you are naturally good at it, there's going to be audiences that's like, well, I do this material. They're going to be like, nah, we're not feeling that tonight. So I go to this material. You have to come up with other material. And you got to find what that audience wants. And I think that's what makes comedy such a fun challenge.
yeah.
And yeah,
Yeah, it definitely is. And I've performed the exact same material in the exact same room on the exact same night for two different audiences and like killed it the first time and completely bombed the second time because the room was just different. And the
yeah,
comedians, and the comedians who are in front of you kind of like warm up the room and they set a tone and whatever. And there was a comedian with a bad attitude, which happens sometimes. And he was taking out things on audience members and nobody was having fun. And everybody just kind of like shut off. And we're like, we're not going to laugh for the rest of the night because this guy was.
well, oh, that guy
Yeah.
had
Like,
that guy. I hope at least bought you guys some beers somewhere or something.
I know. Like, there are those passive aggressive comedians that like start lashing out at the audience when the night's not going their way.
I've seen it.
Yeah, so I'm agreeing with you. It is completely subjective, and like I've bombed, you know, like after doing and I wasn't even scheduled on the next show. I just did so great on the first show. They're like, stay and do the next one.
Sweet. That's a good but that's an awesome compliment in itself, right?
Well, yes, it's an awesome compliment, but then you stay and do the next one and like crickets, like nobody even, and you do the exact same thing.
You're like, why? Like, well, actually, you knew why in that case. It's like, oh, that guy really.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. So like what you said about reading the room and what the audience wants, because not every audience is like in the same place.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, comedy is so drama is easy. Everybody understands pain. Everybody, right? It's easier. Comedy, well, what makes you laugh, what makes me laugh, might be completely different, right?
Yeah.
And depending on the day, the time, the week, I think. But I think comedy at its best makes you laugh and makes you think.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comedians is everybody talks George Carlin on the stage. He's one of my favorites. My favorite in literature is Terry Pratchett.
I don't know Terry Pratchett.
So Terry Pratchett wrote a series called Discworld. It makes fun of the entire fantasy stuff. It just makes fun of it. The first couple feature a character. It's his worst two. But because the character's got one joke, and once you get the joke, it's like ha 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 ha, and then you just want to move on. But he's got so many of these funny characters, and he has some great commentaries on life that he sneaks into his into fiction. But because he's making you laugh, you're open to it, and then suddenly he'll hit you with something so profound, you'll be like, well, shit. Right? Like literally like, well, shit, like you got me. Feet of Clay is about golems. But he makes fun of the tropes a little bit, but at the very end, right, he says to try this really complicated way of making this golem a person, and then the most profound thing he puts in the golem, the instructions like the old golems where he put the messages in the mouth, and that's what they do. Be free. It was beautiful. It was absolutely beautiful. You were laughing the whole time, and then at the end you're like, he got me. And that's great comedy. Great
Yeah,
comedy
I
can
love
do
that.
that,
For
right?
sure.
Yeah. So Carlin did it. Dave Chappelle occasionally does it now, sometimes, right? But I mean, if you look at I think the one thing about comedy today, it's harder to do comedy today, it seems, than it used to be.
Well, it's much harder today because in the old school rules of comedy, nothing was off limits.
Yes.
And today, almost everything is off limits.
Yeah.
If you subscribe to people who are closed-minded and have a limited view, but there were some clips going around, and it was a comedian or a couple of comedians talking about comedy on a talk show interview from like the 80s. And they were saying that the beauty of comedy is that we can make fun of each other, and that can help bridge the gap between our differences.
Yeah.
Because we can all connect through comedy and through, whether it's self-deprecating comedy or, observational comedy. And the thing is, it's like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on, if it's a social media thing or if it's happening in schools or, whatever. But it seems like so many younger people today are on a mission to be offended by everything. And like people are like going, like at the first chance they can be offended, instead of just being, just like swiping and being like, okay, I'm not interested in this, or I don't agree with this. Everybody just feels like they have to like jump on their feed, and I don't know. It's just a weird situation, because also, like, we never had access to every single thing that every single person ever said from the beginning of time until now, all in real time. And I think I don't think we're meant to be able to process all of this at once.
So I have two thoughts about that.
Yeah, that was long. That was a lot of subjects.
No. It was good. Two thoughts. The first, I think we're going to talk about the small issue on that. Here's just the thing, and this is something I've realized I've gotten older. So I met you. Met is being a key word. I also told her this goes, one of my personal goals this year is actually to meet Jennifer Lieberman in person, because she is that awesome. But anyways, I've met you 4 years ago. I met you just before the pandemic started. I talked to you during the pandemic very, very briefly.
No, we met 2 years ago.
Oh, we met 2 years ago? Okay. 2 years ago?
I've only known Mickey a short time.
Okay. So 2 years ago we met. We've talked 4 times. Now you're relative now. Now here's the thing. We're relatively the same people, because in about 2 years we've grown, but we're still relatively the same people. Now when we get to about 5 years, now how I saw things 5 years ago, how I see things now, it's not the same, right? It's just not, it's not the same. So even people I've had falling outs with, let's say 5, 6, 7 years ago, I'm not the same guy, nor are they. Now, they have an image of me, and I have an image of them, but it's no longer accurate at all, right? Right. So the thing is with really young people, they haven't learned that yet. They're not, they're right. Like it's one thing to, back in my day when I thought I knew everything, and now I know much better, right? I realized that I thought I had all the answers. I thought I was sure of some things. And there are some things from my younger days I still believe in. But having experienced life and gone through life a little bit, I realized that my perspectives weren't, again, my experiences have broadened my perspectives. And when you're making judgments without that broadening of perspectives, you're closing your mind to possibilities. And that's something that's being taught, because this is the bigger issue, I think. We're seeing a lot more, I think, attempts. We've been quietly seeing a lot more attempts at censorship in the last 2-3 years than in the last like 20. And that's the real issue.
Well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. But that's not just on young people. That's on every level, right? That, like, it's not just. I just saw something about the WHO and what they released today about, like, talking about adverse side effects. I'm just like, you're kidding. It's just like, it was just one of those really silly little things I saw. It's like the WHO released. Then I saw today something about comedy, ironically enough, about a comedian talking about, like, the dangers of feelings getting in the way of the truth, right?
Exactly. Yeah, which is, that's exactly where we're at right now. And the thing is, I believe, especially in comedy and art, that it's important to be able to say the wrong thing and spark that conversation. Like I attended a screenplay reading last night of a friend's script that's about to be produced. And it was a play originally, so it's a few years old, and the play was written maybe 10 years ago. So yes, a lot has happened in the past 10 years, in terms of like Me Too, the trans movement becoming a really prominent thing, the pandemic, like there's been, so much going on. But it was just so interesting, the comments coming from some of the young actors, because they were saying like, maybe this needs to be rewritten and maybe this needs to be rewritten. And the writer, who's an award-winning playwright, like multi-award winning, I consider him the most prolific writer of our generation. He, of course, all his stuff is controversial. He's comfortable with being controversial, but he also said, look, this is a real person. I wrote this about a real person that exists, and there are real people like this. And if we only write scripts about the perfect people, we're not going to learn anything. Like that doesn't serve society, so talking, because they're like, well, why would you show this person, or you need to rewrite his behavior because he can't do this and he can't do that. Like, it's not acceptable today. And it's like, yeah, we know it's not acceptable today. But people still behave that way, Well, it was just such it's just this interesting thing that just keeps coming up, like.
But it's not just young people; it's older people too. About 2 months ago.
Well, no, because there was an actual literal divide.
Really?
In the discussion between the people over 30 and the people under 30. Literally. So that's why I'm specifically today saying younger people, because it was kind of like a microcosm, and it was exactly split.
That's interesting.
30 and above and 30 and below in terms of the comments. Everybody agreed that the behavior was abhorrent.
Sure.
We all agreed that that's disgusting behavior and people shouldn't behave like that, and guys can't act like that anymore. He's such a womanizer. He can't do this. We all know that. But there are still men out there who do.
And get away with it too.
Satire and a comedy. You know what I mean? And this guy has, freaking awards up to wazoo, master's degree, was a literature professor. You know what I mean? He has the decades of experience. You know what I mean? To stand behind what he wrote. And it was just fast. I didn't say anything. I didn't comment. I'm going to have a phone call with him tomorrow and tell him, what I thought of the piece. But it was just really fascinating to see.
So 2 months ago, I was riding the C train. I had this is gonna sound very bad, but this really happened. I had a group of drunken natives came onto the train, right, and they're trying to get everybody to scooch. Well, I couldn't scooch. I was just where I was. So one of them got really belligerent, stood up, actually took a swing at me on the train. So here's the part that got me when I told that story. When I told that story on my Facebook feed, I had people commenting to me about how I shouldn't have mentioned the group of people at all. And then I thought about that. Oh yeah, just that yeah. I got hit. I was assaulted. I was literally assaulted on the train, right? And I shouldn't have commented about the group. Why did that matter? And my answer to them was really simple, because it's context number one, but it's also, art is not designed to make people comfortable. It's designed to make people uncomfortable. It's
exactly
right. And also, like, real truth, if we hide the truth behind this idea of what is correct, then we never solve a real issue. This was real. This is happening. That means right now on the streets in Calgary, Alberta, those three people. Also, the thing is, I was stopped from actually having to get up and defend myself because a Native woman actually came out and talked them down. I thought that was awesome. Like, she was a badass, like, really cool. Saved me a lot of trouble, and I thanked her. But the thing about, and that part of the story needs to be mentioned too. And but what blew me away was you can't mention, like, some people were like, you can't mention this, they're trying to get away from that, but it's still real. It's still going on. It's still life.
Yeah, and also, so that also came up in the script also, like, something was talked about, and she's like, well, why mention it? What's the point of mentioning it? Like, if you're not, do you have an opinion about this? Do you have a this? Do you have a that? And it's like, we are writers. We are descriptive in our writing. We are setting up a scenario. We are painting a picture with words. Like,
well, no, that's it. Like, you want, like, good comedy. Like, you want people to feel stuff, but you also want people to think about the world they live in.
Oh, definitely. Definitely. Like, I had a really controversial piece, like, years ago that I stopped doing. Am I allowed to, like, use the 7 forbidden words of broadcast that George Carlin?
How about that? Here's the thing. I only have 2 rules on this show. The first one is, you can say whatever you want as long as it's nothing racist or derogatory to any particular groups. I'm not cool with that, any kind of bigotry. And the second thing is, if you're going to be a dick, be an entertaining one. So,
okay,
go nuts.
Yeah. So basically, like, I had this whole bit about how, because I'm vegan and I have a whole shtick. I have, like, several minutes on veganism. And one of the things I was trying to work into my bit that nobody liked, nobody appreciated, when I illustrated for them that every single meat or dairy product they've ever consumed was a product of forced up the butt stuff.
Yes.
So that's how they are able to get things from the bull and then put them into the cow.
Yeah.
But each time they do butt stuff with both of them. Well, because they need to do it to the bull, because that's and then with the cow, they do it while they're inseminating the cow, because that, like, they have to massage the other side.
I dated a barrel.
Anyways, there's the potential for a lot of humor there, but face the fact that they're subscribing to forced up the butt stuff every time they eat.
Yes. Yeah.
I find, like, and this, I'm not even doing punchline, because I'm not using the words that
it's absurd. It's absurd. Like, if you, okay,
but
so
it's like,
so
everybody thinks of killing the animals, but nobody thinks of The
No,
others.
no. So I'll tell you a true thing. Every day when I used to work at Pure Later Curry, every day I had the airside. They would get these crates of bull semen every single day, right? Every day. So I mean, like again, I also dated a barrel racer, so I got to watch what they would do with horses. It's not that we don't eat horses, but it's not that different what they do with horses when they want to breed them, right? So it's like so folks, like there is a how do we put this? There's a dirty side to the business. There is. Oh,
Well,
big time, right? And
yeah.
and
So
yeah, like yeah, no, like we do a lot of stupid stuff, right? We do a lot of stupid stuff to make sure things go. I mean, and honestly, she's going down to tame stuff. She's not even talking about some of the more horrifying aspects of it, right?
yeah, no,
So
but anyway, but that's the
yeah,
thing. It's like certain truths, people, certain things people don't want to face. So even though it like made them think, they didn't want to think about that.
no,
You know what I mean? Like, so anyway, it was I had to remove that segment.
but stuff that's a very technical term. I will keep that in mind for the future if I ever get butt stuff. Okay, that's cool. That's but no, like I said, we have an idealized way of how we view the world, and
Mhm.
that's how then we'll move on to talk about some of your other stuff. Again, one of the things I've tried to do in the last, like especially in the last couple of years, is so I've added 2 rules to my path of success. Rule 9 is to detach from all outcomes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's a very good rule, but it
Mhm.
works because I realized that the most dangerous thing, the most going back to the idea thing, when we buy into an idea of how something works, right? If we buy into it all the way and completely, if I attack that idea or criticize the idea, even if it's in a constructive way, right? You might take that as an attack on you, or vice versa. There's ideas I have, right? And so the important thing is detach from that. If you can detach from the emotion of the idea and the outcome of what you think that idea is, you're always going to be open to hearing things out. And it's going to be easier for you to pivot from the
Mhm.
ideas you have to better ones,
Yes. Yes.
right? It's
Mhm.
easier. Not going to say it's easy, but it's easier because at least you're
Mhm.
open to that possibility. If you completely buy into an idea, whatever that is, that's when you're dangerous because at that point you're not going to be able to change, and someone will treat an attack on an idea as an attack on you, and it can make people very uncomfortable, not want to look at it too closely anymore. And you don't want that because you don't learn, you don't grow. That's my 9th rule. You want to hear my 10th rule? My 10th rule is a lot is simpler.
What is it?
When in doubt, have fun.
Oh, that's rule number 1, fun. If you're not
It's
having
a,
fun, you're fired. That's
yeah,
my
okay. I did it in the order I learned them. The first rule I learned was show up. So which I
ah,
think is actually a really good rule,
yeah, I
right?
guess that is number 1. You can't have fun if you don't show up.
Yeah, exactly. Do your shit is number 2. Don't quit, right? And then I call the rest is rain, which is there's no guarantee what's going to happen, but that's not really the point. It's just go in there and prepare. Get out of your fucking way. Be grateful, be charitable. Uh, no excuses. Stay uncomfortable. Detach from all outcomes. Have fun.
Have fun.
Yeah, yeah. Those are my 10 in that order.
Love it.
So, yeah, that's what I've learned so far. That those are the things I definitively know about this life, and not much else. So there you go.
Those are good ones. They
Yeah,
definitely are.
yeah. So
Mhm.
you've been back on the shit. Have you done a play yet?
Have not done a play yet.
I'm
I
surprised.
am hoping to. I auditioned for a couple. We'll see. There's a whole slew of like auditions coming out now for the summer season, like the spring summer season. This is when they start auditioning. So hopefully,
Yeah,
hopefully I'll get some stuff.
hopefully.
But I have not done a play, but a friend of mine decided to direct one of my short films. So we made that, and that was a lot of fun. And
Oh,
we're
so
in the process of submitting to festivals right now. We just kind of finished the final cut. It's a short film, but I wrote the script many years ago and never thought it would get produced. Just thought, okay, that's just one of the scripts that doesn't get made. And a few years ago,
congrats.
a friend asked me if I had any scripts that I wasn't going to make. And I was like, yeah, I have a few. Here you go. Because after my last short film, I decided my next film project that I produce is going to be like that I produce of my own writing is going to be my feature film, which we've talked about before.
Hmm.
So anyway, he after the pandemic, he like circled back and was jazzed to do something and revisited the piece I gave him a few years ago, and I got to work on it. So it's great.
So were you in like a director's chair? Were you in
Oh
the
no,
movie?
I was the producer and I was also the lead actress, but there was only one female actor in it. So
Okay, it's fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah,
Must have been kind of surreal.
it was a huge milestone for me because this was the first time that somebody who's not me produced my writing.
Hmm.
So I like when I say I produced it, like, yes, I helped put the team together and I helped cast and, made some calls and got equipment from a friend, you know what I mean? Like, was able to call my peeps and help get a team together and stuff. But I had nothing to do with financing. So that was very, very
No, that's
exciting for
all.
me. I was not the executive producer. I was an on the ground producer, but I had nothing to do with raising financing. So that was really, really, really cool for me. That was like the coolest thing ever. Like huge,
Technical difficulty.
Yeah. Are you there? I can't hear you. Isn't technology the best?
Am I back?
Yeah.
Am I? Okay, cool. Cool. Sorry about that. I really did. Just all of a sudden, I just went no. It's like I saw you froze on my end. It's like then what the? Then I froze. I was like, no. It's so. I heard this is what I heard before things kind of went awry. You finally got yourself produced. It was kind of a surreal, big milestone for you, right? That's what I heard.
Yeah.
So you mind repeating the rest of that?
Oh, basically, like, it was the first time that somebody else financed something that I wrote,
Yeah,
who wasn't me.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, so I got to produce it, which was great because I really enjoy producing, and I love being able to hire my friends and put a team together, of
Mhm.
collaborators. So that was really great. I got to cast colleagues, friends of mine, that I know are super talented and awesome. So it's always fun to work with people so yeah, it was really great. And my friend Dan, he's the one who produced it, Dan Nastro.
Hello again,
He's
Astra.
Dan Nastro's incredible. I've known Dan for over a decade now. And we've collaborated on a few things, but he also like he's my go-to photographer. Anytime I need like headshots or promo shots for the book or anything like that, he's just so great behind a camera. He's so talented. Um, so I'm just super comfortable with him, and he just did such a phenomenal job directing. Like his instincts were really, really great, and I'm super excited about how it turned out. So
Congrats.
Yay.
No, that's a huge first, right? And probably will
Yeah.
not be and won't be your last, I don't think either. Yeah.
So, yeah, so 2022, year of the what? My little novel that could.
Hmm. Yes.
So, it's won 5 literary awards.
It has. It's a really good book. I read it
Thank
last
you.
year.
And one of the awards, they actually sent me like a real like medal, like I won the Olympics or something.
Nice. So you know what you need to do? You need to do a podium thing. You gotta like get yourself a little podium,
I'm like,
right?
look at this.
Yeah, sorry.
Um, well, it's so crazy because I used to be a competitive gymnast and like my dream was to go to the Olympics, like every little girl gymnast. Um, I'll fix that later. And and I did train quite hard and compete at a high level and stuff. And I have a whole collection. I have a whole medal collection in my parents' house. But I never thought I'd ever win a medal again for anything. It was so exciting. So that was an IPPY. Have
A
you heard of
nippy.
the an
I
IPPY?
no, I've
So
not heard. Yeah, I know.
IPPYs are the Independent Publishing Awards, and they've been
Nice.
around since like the 90s, early 90s, and they actually do like a black tie gala for the awards, but obviously not because we've had a pandemic, so they just mailed it to me, but I still got a medal. How
It,
cool.
no, well, no, like your book's really good. Like it's not. I said this actually. I did a year in review of my top 5 books. Yours was number 3, right?
Oh,
So yours
thank
was not.
you.
Yeah, yours was number 3. I like folks. It's not norm. I gotta be honest. It's not quite my normal thing to read. I tend, but it's funny. Jen's a really good writer. She definitely I would be genuinely curious if you did like a straight comedy someday. I'd be very genuinely curious what you'd come up with. But yeah, right. But that all said,
Oh, I
it's
do have I have a new pilot that is it's
yeah,
it's a
yeah,
straight comedy, yeah.
yeah. I'd be interested in you checking out. Like it's really well. It's like you said, she writes a good book. It's really really fun. It's definitely okay. I've been dying to ask this because I don't I feel like I'm hoping I remember this correctly. Dana, the main character, I do feel this is what I feel. I don't think every experience in that book was something like you experienced, but I could not help but wonder if there was a point in your life where you were more her when you started and then you evolved into something else. And I kind of feel like there was a little bit of
Yeah, well, definitely. So it was like rooted in the truth. Like
yeah,
the original story, the original play, Year of the Slut, that I wrote, that the book was adapted from, sure, it started off with like my first year after my first big breakup.
yeah,
And, um, I was like super naive and kind of prude from Canada. And my roommate did drop out of a full ride um, to become a dominatrix. She had a full
yeah.
ride to college. Um, so that was based on my true experience. And she opened me up to this whole crazy world of New York City.
Yeah.
But you're an author, you understand that like you need structure and you need plot points and you need a climax. You know what I mean? You need all these things. And also you need to kind of not you, me, for the purpose of my book. I wanted to make it like super outrageous and fun and entertaining and just kind of like, okay, like pushing it further, further. It's like, how far can I go? It's like, so you take like the seed, the kernel of like something that actually happened to you, and then you like embellish, and then maybe you borrow a few stories that happened to friends, and then you embellish those stories, and then you heard a
Yeah.
story about their crazy friend that did something even crazier,
Well,
and it just takes on a life of its own. And I think that's the fun and the beauty for me of writing these things is you start off with this kind of idea of where you're going to go, but you really have no idea until you dive in.
sometimes they come to you by accident. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's like I'm actually So I'm writing a book right now called Corey the Night Witch. So
Ooh,
right, but it's a parallel universe story. So it's basically it's my so she is
that's
trying to
double ooh.
yeah, she's trying to kill evil versions of the Knights of the Round, but it's also her origin story. And her origin story is again, the Knights of the Round in my story are the bad guys. They do a lot of
Mhm.
horrifying shit. And she just hits her limit. And it comes out in some really, really outrageous ways. Like in her spare time, she actually has a pimp. It's actually kind of like a weird kind of like she's beating herself up so bad in her at one point in her life that she was just looking for any kind of out she could find. And then the flip side though is, and this is something I've always explored. You can change who you are, but how much can you change who you are? And that's an interest. And I've always been fascinated by that question,
Mm, mhm.
right?
That's a good
Because
one.
yeah, because like I truly believe all of us have the ability to be anything we want to be, but some things are easier for us than others by design,
Mhm.
right? And other things are more difficult. It's not that we can't attain those things, right? But how far there's a quote I love. It's like, yeah, at any moment you have to be willing to give up what you are for what you want to become.
Yep, I know
How?
that one.
Well, yeah, it's a great quote. But the question is, how far can you push that? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? How far can you honestly push that? Is there an actual limit?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, you know,
Yeah.
who knows, right?
Yeah. And all of which to say is like your character and you're the what, maybe and maybe even the person I'm talking to has gone through a myriad of changes to get to who she wants to be.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah, myriad of changes, right? So
I
so I
decided to
mean,
give myself a haircut today, and I'm not sure if it was a really good idea. Talk about changes. I was like, "Oh, it's a new year. I need to change something."
it's all good. I honestly think you'd look good in just about anything, so that I don't think you
Oh,
have anything to
thank
worry
you.
about. Anything to worry about there. And the really cute thing about you too is sometimes when someone really compliments it, you actually blush a little bit. It's actually kind of funny. It's actually kind of funny to see it.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like thanks, not for the second part, but for the first part for sure. But no, you look at no. It's just it. I think one of the biggest changes you have when you're younger and older is you just find your confidence. But then
Yeah.
right, so I guess where I want to go is going into 2023 and beyond. Right, you got your confidence. People are buying your stuff. You're getting yourself out there. You're doing like you read a kick-ass book. You're getting medals, right?
I know I got a medal.
I know, I know.
Because all the other ones are digital, you know what I mean? Like, all the other awards are, like, these digital kinda, circles,
I
like
I
the
I
Amazon
I I
things are
should I
digital.
should I should actually show you my aurora. I actually got an
I
aurora
know
from
you
like
did.
yeah. And so I actually got a real award. Like I got the old one. So
Mhm.
the thing is, the old Aurora awards, they're actually secretly like weapons of mass destruction. Like you look at the edges and stuff like that, you're
You
like,
could kill
I
somebody.
yeah, you could. I like when I was flying the thing home. When I was flying the thing home, it was wonderful. I got up to like up my plane ticket got involved and it's like, hey guys, what should I do with this? I don't feel like putting this in the bottom of the plane is a good idea because it's like this glass case stuff. So
Mhm.
they actually let me carry it on. I showed them what it was. It was actually
Oh,
kind of
that's nice of them. Yeah.
yeah. They actually let me do because they kind of understood it. So they looked at it and themselves are like, yeah, okay, we'll let you have this just because, right? So,
Yeah.
but no, it's cool when it's physical and it's real because it means you did something and that people recognize that you're doing something, and that's whether we want to admit it or not, we like when we get recognized for that kind of stuff.
Well, it does feel good,
Yeah.
and I forget who was talking about it. There was this, um, but we don't do art for ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, especially like performance art, and writing. Like, I'm not writing a book so nobody reads it. The
Yes.
hope is that it will find an audience. or that, you paint a piece or draw a piece and it will find a home of somebody who wants to look at it every day and put it on display. So there definitely is that element. So yeah, it feels really nice to be
Yeah.
recognized and acknowledged for sure.
I half agree with that. You still do right for yourself, but the thing,
Yes, of course. Like,
yeah, you do get
yes.
you do it. What I've learned, what I've learned about that though is, yeah, no, it's great because you always wonder who's like in my case, who's listening to the show. In your case, who's reading the book. In other people's
Mhm.
case, is they're watching the porn? So you getting an applause? Are you getting? Actually, I gotta ask this. This is actually an interesting question for you because you enjoy performing in front of an audience. Have you ever been booed out of a building?
No.
No. Would you be okay with it? Because some people feed off that kind of like.
I think I would have that would be very hard.
No,
I think I
okay.
would go home and be very depressed. I'd probably go home and cry.
No, it's fair. I asked them because some people can feed off it. Some people, because it's still a reaction, right? So right,
Yeah.
you know what I mean. I always, the biggest thing I worry about with my work isn't that people like or hate it, is that they actually like or hate it. If they like the golf clap is the most terrifying reaction of all. It's like
Yeah.
that. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Yeah.
I understand. You want to be provocative. You want a reaction, whether it's a good reaction or a bad reaction, but you want something substantial as opposed to like,
Yeah. It's like, because
like,
Annie, like,
eh,
right? It's like, what did I do wrong? Yeah, because it's like, what did I do wrong? You know what I mean? In that situation. Whereas, oh,
yeah, I hate to say, look, I'm not even going to say
yeah.
it. Not worth it.
No, it's fair. It's fair. You can say what you want. I mean, it's all
No,
good.
it's no. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. And
Fair
it's not
enough.
a comment, so I don't want to.
No, okay. It's all good. I just, like I said, no, it's fair. I mean,
It was about a comedy show that I went to, and it was just so not even it was just
yeah, yeah,
okay.
yeah.
And that was so bad. You know what I mean? It was so up. It's anyway.
No, again, it's fair to criticize something if you have that reaction. It's like, okay, maybe it's not for me. That's
Mhm.
a fair. I mean, in all fairness, and maybe that show was not for you. Maybe their performance was missing something. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, right. I think it's okay to be critical that way.
Oh yeah, for sure. But I just mean I don't need to like
No, you don't
announce
need.
it.
No, you don't. It's fair. It's fair. No,
Yeah.
I get that. Yeah, like I said, I that terrifies. It's like, it's all right. I'm like, oh,
Yeah, it's
it's all
fine.
right.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine. It's fine. What do you think of that joke? Oh, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like my script? It's fine. What's fine? What the fuck?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. What is that?
Fine. Fine.
Fine.
Like the worst word.
Yeah. Fine and good are the worst two words in the English language.
Fantastic.
Fantastic's great. It's a great word. Awesome is a great word. Wonderful.
Fabulous.
Yeah, amazing. Right?
Yeah.
Good. What is good? Right?
Mhm.
I still don't know after all these years. I don't know. At least from an art sense, I don't have no idea what is good. It's like, I think I did all right. I made me laugh, so I guess it's something. But good, yeah, good, fine. Eh, eh. So what is so what are the big goals this year? Like, really,
I don't have any big goals this year. I'm pretty satisfied with last year, and yeah,
that's okay.
and I think it's okay to just kind of like um recharge a little bit. Like
Mhm.
I always have ideas that are like in process, and um I have the sequel to Year of the Wet, book 2 coming. So that is in the works. Um and then I'm still putting the production of my feature film together. We still have a little bit of money to raise, but we've made some nice headway. So that's really exciting. I would love that if we, I would love if we get to production this year, but I think it's more realistic next year. I'd rather do it well than do it fast.
Hmm.
So there's that's, still chipping away, pushing along. And then I have a new TV pilot script that I'm shopping around also.
Good
So
luck.
we'll see what happens with that. That one I'm really excited about too. Um, it's my first pilot, so we'll see what happens. I never thought I'd try to write a TV series. But I had this like kind of kooky idea because I'm kooky. That's just who I am. And yeah,
I like your cookie. It's all good.
yeah, and it's too complex to like wrap up in like an hour and a half. You'd need like a 10 episode kind of like, you know,
But that
series to tell the story properly.
sounds like a new challenge. And that was probably what part of the fun of that too. It's like I've never done this before.
Yeah, and like I had the idea and the goal, I worked with a writing partner on it. So, we basically outlined like the story arcs for each character, but we wrote one pilot
Hmm.
and we'll see what happens.
Well, it's television, so it's that's a weird animal. But
Mhm.
then again, maybe a year from now, I'll hear a development for the next big hit series, and it might be yours,
Exactly. Yeah,
right?
we'll see. But this whole as you know, this whole industry is just about just keep going. Just
Yeah.
write something else, produce something else, just keep pushing along, keep auditioning, keep at it, keep creating, keep creating and keep creating your own opportunities.
Hmm. Well, that is the secret. When the times are toughest, you scream the loudest. That's something I've learned as well, right? And you just keep going. This is a game of attrition in some ways because a lot of people goes, this is a tough business. It is. It really really is. But if you can do it, if you can keep going and doing it, right? You'll
Yeah.
it's almost like you win by default, almost. Right? All right.
Yeah. Well, because it takes a lot of patience and it takes a lot of stamina. And stamina, I mean, is like just because you have one great gig, you can't expect that another one's going to roll in without doing the work, without kind of working at it, doing the networking, showing up, taking the meetings, taking the calls, you know, and keeping the momentum going. That's, I think, one of the biggest challenges
Hmm.
is like the stamina to keep the freelance gig to gig momentum going over decades of time.
Yes. Yes.
Because even people who see a certain amount of success, it's like turning it into longevity is the hardest. And that's why, people come and go in terms of, creatives. It's
Yeah.
hard to stick with it.
Well, it's something like I said too, like things change. Like I said there's a 5 year window, right? You remember
Yeah.
from people that when the voice changes, right? So your wants might change in 5 years too. You might want something stabler, or you might
Mhm.
want something different. And again, I don't think there's a crime. When I was younger, I thought this is giving up. Now that I'm older slash wiser, what I realize is our wants evolve as time goes on.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I agree.
Right.
And I reevaluate all the time because I think we might have discussed this previously, but I remember when I decided to like move to New York and start acting and get into theater, everybody's like, "Oh, how long are you going to give it? How long are you going to give it? Like 5 years, like 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? Like, how long are you going to give it?" That's like such a positive, outlook when like somebody's saying like I'm going after my dream, because how long are you going to give it means that you only have a certain amount of time to make it.
Yeah,
And,
which
and my answer has always been until I don't want to anymore. I'm going to give it until I don't want to do it anymore, until this isn't the thing that like lights me up and excites me and, like makes me want to like leap out of bed every morning and get to work, because that's how much I love what I do.
yeah,
And other people might need the paycheck. I need having something that I'm going to leap out of bed for towards every morning.
I think everybody needs that, to be honest, to like something to leap out of bed. I think it's different for everybody, but I think everybody needs that. And if they're not doing that, you wonder. I talked to a friend right before he quit his job to do some writing stuff in March of last year. Now he's looking to go back into the workforce. And the one question they didn't want to answer to me is like, well, what do you want? Right? Because I think it's the most it's not the it's one of the two most important questions I think you can ask yourself, because you have to be honest with that every day,
Mhm.
right? And you can want to be an actress, producer, rock star like you, or maybe you want to be, yeah, or maybe you want to be just you want a regular job. There's nothing wrong with either want. Like if,
No,
as a
there's
woman,
nothing like, oh my
yeah,
God. I
right.
wish I wish I could just live a normal life and I
Yep.
wasn't like a hostage. I tell people all the time the human being has been held hostage by the artist for over a decade.
See, I'm not
Because
sure.
the artist's needs always get met, always. But the human's needs only get met after the artist's needs are fulfilled. That's like the Jekyll and Hyde situation I live with.
Uh, so so I
Like,
there's
oh wait, you have to pay for a theater, but you also have to pay rent. Okay, pay for the theater and hope that you sell
I've
enough
been there.
to pay
I've been
the rent.
there. I've so been there.
So that's what I'm
Um,
saying. The artist's needs are always the priority in my life.
so here's the so there's only one thing I disagree with you on your entire statement, and it's this. I don't think I don't think you'd ever been happy being normal, ever. There's some things about it you definitely would like.
I've
There's
never been
a,
normal, so I wouldn't know.
no, well, the thing is, normal for you would be hell. Normal. So there's this video game I like playing. It's just what I play for fun. It's called Devil May Cry. But there's this one level. He's fighting demons from the underworld. Okay, he's fighting demons from the underworld, all this evil stuff. This is the part that cracks me up every single time. There's this one scene he has to go to the next part of the level. He's in the elevator going up, and you have the worst elevator music you can listen to the whole fucking way up. And he gets near the top. He goes, "This is hell. This part here, not the demons and all the other stuff. The elevator ride is hell." And normal, I think, for you would be that elevator ride. It would be the cheesy music. It would be everything you could not stand, right? It'd be like, I can't do this shit. I that's the only thing. Like, I, I, I would not have you any other way than what I see right here,
Thank you.
right?
Thank you.
Right. Because that person, she's driven, she's doing something. I'm sure there are days you go, what the fuck? Because we all have them. What the fuck am I doing? There are days, but there are other days like, this is fucking cool. Like, for example, right this minute, I am talking with somebody I admire very much who's doing an awesome thing. That's a very cool part of my life. I'm still trying to figure out like the next phase of my life. I'm still trying to figure out how to make it financially feasible. That's like the biggest challenge. How can I do to keep my businesses going while I'm doing this? I don't think it's a huge challenge, but it's a challenge I'm working on right this minute,
Mhm.
right? That's real
Mhm.
life. I'm going to be going, like you said, because I'm not normal either. I think that's what we have in common. It's like, I'm not really, I don't, there are things about quote unquote normal life I like,
Mhm.
but I don't, I can, I I realized I couldn't do normal anymore when I was in Windsor, Ontario, trying to work these temporary jobs to make wages. I couldn't look at these jobs the same way anymore. I was no
Mhm.
longer an employee, right? I was a freelancer just making ends meet. And when you can't be intimidated by anybody in the building, right? And you don't have the same you just don't have the same outlook anymore you did when you were younger. You just feel like I can't go back to this anymore. I'm not normal.
See,
Yes.
I don't know. I've had lots of normal jobs and I've done really well at that and I've enjoyed them. Like
Sure.
my last normal job, I was the performing arts director at an elementary school and I absolutely
But
loved it.
see, most people would tell you that's not exactly a normal job either. It's a cool job. It had to be right. It's a cool job. It was you got to teach the most enthusiastic audience in the world, and you got to be that inspiration to them that anything is possible. That's a really
Well,
cool freaking
yeah, I guess so. Thank you. Yes, like I loved it.
yeah. Oh yeah.
I
That
loved
that,
working
that
with kids. I love teaching. Um,
kids are
so
awesome,
yeah, it
right?
was great. But yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of split down the middle, you know.
Yeah.
I need a little bit of both in my life.
Well, structure's good. Don't get me wrong.
Mhm.
Structure is good, but yeah, like no, like yeah, like this isn't that job. It's like no, I'd be great if I couldn't do podcasting. I'd be a good teacher at it, or I'd be a good teacher at it. I'd have fun with that, right?
Yeah.
But again, that like I said, I guess of how you define normal. Structure's good. Artists need structure, whether we want to admit it or not,
Mhm.
right? But normal, mm, no, I just think I just think we get to a certain point where it's like there's got to be a better way to do this. Sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, but also like everyone has different priorities and everybody
Mhm,
enjoys different things and has different aptitudes, you know? Like
mhm.
um yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's what
That's
makes
fair.
the world go around. It's what makes everything so interesting. None of us are the same.
That's why I've been doing the show for so long. Everybody sees the world
Exactly.
there. Yeah, it's everybody
Yeah.
sees the world differently, and
Mhm.
yet everybody is in some ways are the same. I had Marissa Mayer on the show. We ended up talking about brother sister relationships for a little bit. It was actually like that's like a really big cool thing. It's like, hey, we're not that different. Actually, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Do you have siblings?
Mhm. I have a brother,
Are you older or younger?
younger.
How much younger?
A year,
Oh
year and
shoot.
a half, but like one calendar year.
So my sister and I are 18 months apart.
Oh, cool.
So I
So
know
like
that.
the same thing.
Yeah, exact same thing. I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest. So so I there are things I can do to her that drive her absolutely crazy. My favorite thing. So whenever we dance to each other now, we play cards. We play like rummy or cribbage or something like that. Now here's the
Mhm.
thing. I don't care if I win or lose. She does.
Yeah.
So I don't care if I beat her or I don't, but what I do care about is I like seeing her have those little cracks as I'm kicking her butt. So, now I very rarely get to do that in cribbage. She's an amazing cribbage player. But in Rummy, oh man, it that again, I get a little bit of perverse pleasure just watching that go,
That's
right?
so funny.
And she'll do stuff like I'm drawing now, right? So she'll come on the show. She'll come on the show because she's been drawing for her whole life. So she's phenomenally gifted at this. So she'll do shit like put on a blindfold, draw for her one hand, and just that's just who she is, right? Just to show what she can do. It's like, oh, you're just like show off. But it's a beautiful. I love my sister to death, right? So I'm sure you two drive each other crazy in similar ways. Maybe not that like that, but I'm sure there were.
Not anymore, you
No.
know, like I moved away when I was 20,
Oh, so
you
different.
know, and he's married and has 2 kids, and it's
Good.
a very different dynamic.
Oh.
I don't see, you know, and I haven't lived in Toronto where my family is most of my adult life. Like before the pandemic, I wasn't here. So I'd only see my family a few times a year,
Oh,
like twice a year. Not even a few. Like when I was in
no.
LA, it was twice a year at best.
Well, that's no, I can understand that would definitely change things over time for sure.
Yeah.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and, like, since he had kids, like,
yeah, no.
all I do is, like, spend all my time and energy, like, with them because, like,
That's
when because I get to see them so, limited. So, yeah.
no, I get that.
And when
No,
I
yeah,
talk to my brother, it's all about, like, "How are the kids? Tell me the stories. What are they doing?"
Auntie Jen.
Yeah.
Auntie Jen. There's nothing wrong with that. I guess two last questions, and then we'll
Yeah.
wrap this bad boy up. First, the first one. So you're gonna stay? You're gonna stay where you're at? Are you gonna head off into the wild again at some point?
So I was in New York, for 2 months in the fall, and it looks like I might be
Going
back
back?
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll know in the next few weeks, I'll see what kinda happens, but, yeah, I definitely would like to be settled back in New York this year.
Okay. So yeah, you're ready to get back to what you were doing prior to the pandemic, pretty much at this
Yeah,
point.
it's funny, like, what you were saying about going back to Calgary. Like, I came home specifically because of pandemic and some family stuff going on, and now I'm ready to go back to the life formerly known as mine.
Is it what you want?
Yeah.
Then it'll be good. It'll
Yeah.
be, it'll be good.
Yeah, it's been very strange being in Toronto the past few years because I don't have anything here. Like, I have
No, I
my
understand that.
relatives, but I don't have any, business connections or work connections. I don't have a creative community. I don't have any collaborators. So and it was pandemic, so it wasn't like I was able to go out and,
No. I
like, plug myself into, like, the scene or anything. And now that things are opening up again, like, my friends, that are already connected to me and know my work, like, wanna keep working with me. So it's like, do I stay here and try to forge new relationships and new connections with people who have no idea who I am? Or do I go back, you know, to where I put in all of this time and planted all of these seeds
and
with
where
people
opportunities.
who know me, respect me, think highly of me, want to collaborate with me, you
No,
know?
no. I get that.
Yeah, so that's the challenge. Like, I would love to be able to get work here and collaborate here in Toronto. I just haven't had any success in making those connections. So, I'm basically going where they're calling me to come.
which makes sense. No,
Yeah.
it totally makes sense. Only
Yeah,
thing,
like, I have a couple of opportunities on the table, so.
well, no, and you got to do what's right for you. This like I mean I went back to see my family during the pandemic too. I
Mhm.
was in like I said, I was in Windsor, and but I also realized, and maybe you have the same thing, is I just don't fit here. Right? I whatever I've gone through in my life, I've changed too much to be here for a sustained period of time.
Yeah. Yeah, see,
Right?
and for me, it's the opposite because it would be very easy for me to settle back into Toronto, but the friends that I have here are friends from
Other places.
no, before college.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I
really.
mean? Those are like high school friends, like people I grew up with through university, but then I left, so none of like my I just don't feel like I have a tribe here, so to speak.
No, well, that's what I mean. Like the place
Yeah,
for
so
you that you
so
had.
both personally and professionally,
Yeah,
I'm missing that.
yeah, no, I get it. No, that's what I'm saying. Like it's like Windsor, they would send me. Like, my family was there, but there was nothing else for me there. So I was
Yeah,
just like in Calgary. When I even tried to forge new connections, it just would not work out at
Yeah.
all. So I just realized that, and I just accept that, like, this isn't for me. This is a detour I might get cool stuff out of,
Mhm.
but that's it. Like, that's what this is. The difference is I don't have a specific place in mind where I'm going next, whereas you do, which makes all the
Mhm.
sense in the world. So I guess I asked this. So this is gonna sound like this is a small, silly part question. Then we get to like a bigger word. Do you like ice cream?
No.
No,
I'm
really?
always cold and I hate being cold.
You hate
And
being cold?
I live in fear of being cold.
You live in
Like
fear of being cold.
yes, and everyone makes fun of me, all my friends, because I always have like a granny sweater and a scarf and layers and like it's
You,
ridiculous.
you fear being
So
cold.
so
Okay.
I'm like the only person on earth who doesn't like ice cream because I just don't want to be cold.
You just don't want to be cold. Okay. Okay. What's your favorite dessert then?
Ooh. Hmm. Well, that's a hard one. That's a hard one because my mother used to have a bakery, but I'm now vegan. So all my favorite desserts are things that I can't eat anymore.
There's actually a bakery in Windsor that actually does vegan.
Yeah,
Vegan
no,
dessert.
I've been, but none. I've had lots of vegan desserts. None of them are my favorite.
that's
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 why it's such a hard question.
see, because okay, I'll tell you what I was leading. This time I was leading to.
But I'd
I
say like chocolate mousse, like really great, like French chocolate mousse
okay, okay,
with like powdered cocoa on top.
okay. So this is a proposal. Okay, when I get out, when I figure out this road trip thing a
Your
little bit.
road trip.
Okay, when I figure out my little. By the way, I have the theme music for me this year is "Carry On Wayward Son" by Kansas. That's going to be the theme
Nice.
of the trip. But the thing is, um, I'm going to be I'm working on some things. I'm working on some things. Although I don't know how often I will be east. I am going to go east a few times because I have
Cool.
connections all over. So what I was proposing to you, because I made an arrangement in Pittsburgh to do a show eating ice cream under some train tracks. There's a really cool ice cream place under train tracks in Pittsburgh,
Oh,
Pennsylvania,
cool.
like shit like that, right? So if you got a spot in New York, makes a really good chocolate mousse that you got no problem being filmed with me at, I would love to do this in person,
Cool.
right? In person with you, right? By the way, Mickey doesn't know the show's going in this direction yet. I haven't quite told him because I haven't quite figured out the whens and the hows yet. But assuming you are interested, am I cool enough to actually interview you in person from an actual
Oh,
camera?
yeah, that would be so much fun, but I'd have to find a vegan place because I
It,
wouldn't do a
I'm assuming New York has a few of those. I mean, it is a
Yeah,
big
they
enough
do.
city.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
have to find one that has actual good vegan desserts.
The quest for vegan dessert. Yeah.
You don't understand, like, my mother had a bakery.
Yeah.
I am a pastry snob, okay? Like, even at, like, the best patisseries that use all the butter and cream that you can imagine, I'm still a snob, so can you imagine with the vegan stuff, how hard it is to find something
Yes.
that's satisfying?
My grandmother actually makes like a lemon pie thing. The actual thing it's actually called Better Than Sex.
Oh,
That's
wow.
the name of this actual
That
dessert.
sounds awesome.
It is. My dad is a big naturopath. Like he's got his own kind of health. Like he does his own like thing. He cheats his diet for that. Like that's so. I mean,
Oh,
that literally he cheats. It's like screw it.
okay.
So
Well, you
right.
might have to bring grandma's lemon pie to New
Okay.
York.
Okay. Better than sex. Okay. So that sounds like a date. So do you know when your book's coming out next? Or are you gonna wait
I
till like?
don't. I don't. There's so many balls in the air right now. So we'll see what happens in the next couple of weeks, and that will kind of determine where my energy gets focused the
No, that's
next
fair.
little while, but
No.
it's getting there. It's definitely getting there.
Just so you know, when I do the description for the session, I found the one person who doesn't like ice cream, and it's a semi-legitimate reason. I just say semi-legitimate, right? Just because it's ice cream. But yeah,
Yeah.
just so
No,
you
I
know,
know, it's true, like, 'cause I just don't it's just not my thing. And everybody's like, "Oh, but everybody loves ice cream," and I'm like, "No, I really don't want it." Like,
no. You know what? It's fair. It's fair. Okay, I gotta ask this then. Like, if you go swimming and the water is cold, you're just like, I'm out.
it depends, yeah.
It, 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 it,
Or
it,
it depends how hot the temperature is outside.
Okay. Okay. So that's the factor. So just yeah. That's an interesting. It's just
Yeah.
I'm not making fun of. I'm
Oh,
not making
I
fun of you.
love swimming, and I actually, believe it or not, as much as I hate being cold, I I do like a freezing cold minute or 2 at the end of my showers because it's really good for your immune system and inflammation.
So 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 you'll do it for your health, but no other reason.
Yeah.
Okay. No, it's fair. I'm just. How do I put this? We all. I look at it this way. I have my own quirks.
Yeah,
Right.
I know. Yeah, and, like, I don't usually, like, have cold drinks. I always ask for no ice if I order a drink when I'm
You
out.
just don't like cold at all.
I just don't like cold. Yeah.
Okay, and this is the last cold thing, I promise. Pillows, cold pillows. Yay, nay, no.
What? Cold pillows?
Sometimes it's really hot. So sometimes when it's really hot outside, you actually turn the pillow over because one side's colder than the other.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No,
I
no,
don't
no. Okay, no, it's okay. I just this is
I
it's
know it's so relevant. It's the most relevant part of our conversation.
well, no, it's interesting. It's a quirk I've never, and I hope you don't take this wrong. It's a quirk I've never heard of before. Yeah,
Yeah, and,
so
like yeah.
no,
Well,
no. The most relevant parts of our conversation, I thought this time around, was you're going to New York again,
I would like to. Yes, that's the
right?
plan.
You're going to New York again. Whether it works out this way or not, if you really want to go, you're gonna find a way to go.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about that. You got your own film, which is awesome, right? That is an amazing accomplishment. You got someone to actually say your work. You got someone to do that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
You're doing a pilot for a television show.
No, I'm not. I wrote a pilot that I'm
Okay,
trying to sell.
there you go. There
We'll
you
be
go.
selling a pilot.
Selling a pilot. Sorry.
That's the
Correct.
goal, to sell it.
And it might happen, right? Right. I don't know who you're shopping to, but I mean, there's a lot of networks these days. I mean,
Well,
yeah,
exactly, and I feel like it's a pretty, timely. Everybody feels that, right? "Oh, it's so timely. It's relevant. It's relevant." I don't know what it is, but it's fun.
well, no, you give a shit about it, and it's gonna go, and wherever it goes, it'll take you somewhere, right? So you got
Exactly.
that, you got that.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
and all in all, I mean, you seem to be doing pretty good.
I
So,
am. I'm in a good place. I'm very grateful. Like, I'm grateful that we're not in pandemic mode anymore. I'm so grateful, like, you know, that that everything's okay. The world didn't end. I'm
I,
very grateful for that because it was a little scary for a minute there.
uh, so it was my second apocalypse. My first one was much personal,
Mm,
right? My first one was much more personal. So the second apocalypse, again, the biggest thing I got out of it, and the first one taught me this: no matter how bad things get, it never lasts forever,
exactly.
right? It's okay to be scared a little bit, but I mean, as long as I mean, we'll have good times, we'll have bad times, but when bad times come, it'll be, in one sense, you'll be tougher and more resilient to handle whatever comes next, and that's a good thing
Mhm.
too, right? Good comes from all. But that all said, Miss Jen, I wish you nothing but the best this year. I hope it all
Thank
magically
you.
works out the way you want it to.
Thank you.
And if not, at least what you need. If not what you want, at least go what you needed to be the
It's
workout.
all gonna work out. It's all
Yeah,
gonna be wonderful. And
yeah,
I wish you all the best, and I'm excited to hear keep me posted when you get it on the road.
yeah. Like I said, we will see. I'm trying. There are some obstacles, but I'm hoping at the very latest July, maybe as early as May. Like,
Cool.
yeah, that's kind of where I see it.
Mhm.
But Miss Jen, thank you for coming. So what do you want to promote? What do you want to promote before we
Um,
wrap this bad boy up? What do you?
well, I guess just my book. If
Oh yeah,
any
if you hey,
if
this is
anyone's
your,
interested in a racy rom-com, you can check Out Year of the What on Amazon. And also, I recently posted one of my full short films on Vimeo. So if anybody out there wants to
do
check
you, do
out
you have the
an
link to it?
erotic thriller, it's called Leash,
Do you have the link?
Leash, like leash. It's on Vimeo, so you can just like put in Jennifer Lieberman or Leash, and it should come out
Do you
if you
do
want
you
to give
have
it a look
do you
see.
have do you have the link?
Oh, I
Do
do
you have
have the link. Should I just share the link?
well, do you send it to me by the private chat option?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hold on. Let me just get the link up. Um,
Do 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 do
just bear
do.
with me.
No, it's all good. Hey,
Uh,
my
I didn't
my
even think
computer.
I was going to talk about this, but
Why not?
excuse me. Yeah, it can't hurt, right?
Well,
You can always use some views.
yeah, you never know. And this, I'll actually sneak it. I'll sneak it into when I do the audio episode later as
Mm-hmm.
well. So do 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 do
Okay,
do do.
like jumping around browsers. Okay, private chat. Here we go.
Yeah, yay!
Yay! Woohoo!
So do 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 do. Hold on a second here. Come on, you. There we go. Come on, you. Right, but technical. What the heck's going on here? There it goes. There you go, folks.
Aw, thank
Oh,
you. Awesome.
yeah. Yeah. So for everybody watching, so Leasha's, why don't you do the full pitch again now, just real quick
Yeah,
here?
so Leash is a short film. It's an erotic thriller about an artist and her muse. And we got to screen at the Cannes Film Festival Short Film Corner in 2016 and the New York Short Film Festival 2016. And then recently, I guess, like this year, it was still getting into festivals and it was nominated. No, that was my other film, not this film. Anyways, I went to those two festivals in 2016, and it was a lot of fun. And my director, Jennifer Derwingson, was a writer director on the TV show Z Nation, and she's super talented, and she did such a wonderful job directing.
Alrighty. And like I said, they gave me an award for clicking a button like this, Jen. They actually gave me an award for it.
Woohoo!
Ooh, that's right.
Love it. Well, thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Well, for everybody watching, everybody listening, this is Jennifer Lieberman. Check out You're the What. It is a great story. It is an erotic rom-com about a woman learning the most important lesson about love, to love oneself. It is a beautiful little story. You should definitely check that out.
Thank you.
And that will do it today. I will be back Thursday. I have a really cool guest coming on then. But until then, folks, for everybody watching, everybody listening, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Stay inspired. Keep shining in the dark. And I'll see you guys next time. Hold on a second here. Boom.